Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another episode of the DADPOCALYPSE Now show. As always, I'm your host, Jason Gowan. Now, tonight, we have a very special show. We have a pillar of the paranormal community. He has been seen facing down dark forces on his newest show, Deathwalker, that premiered this last fall, as well as having terrifying experiences that he's kind of taken us along with on his previous television forays with Paranormal Lockdown and Ghost Adventures. But what a lot of you may not know is that our guest tonight is also a dad. So we're going to be delving into all of these things, and I promise you, we're going to talk some ghosts and spooky stuff. But we're also going to be talking about parenting and the paranormal. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome my guest, Mr. Nick Groff.
How's it going, man? Thanks
for
having me.
Good, man. How are you?
Good. One of those days, it's one of those days where I feel like it's obviously Tuesday, but I feel like it's Monday, kids, life, work, that type of stuff.
I know a little bit about that. So my job has been furloughed since last March, and I got word it's not coming back until September. So I literally have been home with my two 2-year-old twins, and my 5-year-old for this last year. And now I found out it's going to be 18 months of craziness.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's tough too, especially when you can't get them in school. Like my kids are obviously, a little bit older, 10, and I'm like, get to school. at least right now they get to go to school during the week, which is good.
Oh, but, so they're back to in-person stuff?
Yeah, they have been for a little bit, but it's weird because it's been hit and miss. So there's been a couple of cases throughout the school, then they shut the school down, then it's you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it just kind of stinks right now. Everything is just so up in the air. But the good thing is I think things are lifted. It's almost like everybody's kind of gone through the whole motions of people getting sick and things have been happening and things are kind of situated now. So basically, they're back in school and, it's been smooth so far. So.
Right. So you're predominantly, you travel a ton, right?
Yeah, I do. It's kind of been shut down for me. Well, I don't know. For years, I've been doing this for over a decade now. When I used to do Ghost Adventures, it was every other week, 26 episodes in a year and a half or so. And then when I was doing Paranormal Lockdown was the most brutal show I've ever done. Honestly, living at the locations for 3 days and just taking in the environments and everything that I went through and just all the traveling and stuff. That was a wear and tear mentally and physically on the body. And then coming home and managing the kids, half on, half off, and just everything with the life, you got to balance and trying to stay healthy at the same time. So that was crazy. But yeah, I travel a lot. I've been doing it for a long time. But the cool thing is, I think with my new series, Deathwalker, it's kind of we're doing it something totally different. But it's good because I have a lot of balance now on both sides. It just took a little bit to try to multi-manage it, but I haven't slowed down,
Right. So you didn't have any downtime then during all of this. You just kind of kept pumping out new stuff.
Yeah, so the cool thing with me is last year I was already filming Deathwalker, a ton of locations. I did 10 locations last year right before the fall. So I had all my episodes going into the fall and then COVID stopped everything. But the great thing with me is I was already done. So all I was doing was post work. I was editing them, going through the evidence, everything that I do. And we were getting ready for the distributor. And now we're about to make huge announcements coming up for Deathwalker, which is going to be great. Very soon, probably next month, and so on. So we're excited about that. So we were lucky enough to have everything kind of situated. So the great thing is with us is we had all this content. We had all this content where all other productions shut down, and now they're trying to have a tough time fulfilling content, but we haven't, just because I figured out a totally different way around everything. So it's been really good for us in a sense. But yeah, man, it just stinks. There's so many restrictions. It sucks too. I'll be honest, walking around with a mask all the time.
Yeah.
Planes and this and that. It's just you get stuffy and it's just irritating and stuff.
So you've been on a plane since the mask thing. How much fun is that?
I mean, honestly, when I was on a plane kind of in the beginning stages, a little bit after the begin, like a month or two after when everything was like, all right, I really think I was sick last year at some point. I probably had, the symptoms and stuff, but I think I'm more asymptomatic. Like I passed on and stuff like that, but I've been negative.
Yeah.
I've been tested, everything. I'm good. But I know like a bunch of people got sick, even my dad got sick.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, my dad got really bad for a bit, but he much better. But it's just one of those things, man. It's like, immune system and this and that. Some people, it's worse for others, but it sucks to watch to go through if it hits you hard, Um, but I was on a plane like right after it and it was chill. Like there was like no one on it. So it's like a private plane. It was like five people and me, and we're all looking at each other like, do you have it? Like what are you doing over there? You don't make eye contact. It's kind of like it's like prison life, man. It's like you don't make eye contact and you keep your head down, and it's like zombie apocalypse. You
Yeah,
stare
and like a lot of people treated it that way, like it was some
Totally.
kind of a zombie apocalypse.
Totally. It was totally like a zombie. I was just like, it was funny because I was joking with my other guys on our G Crew show. We do this podcast live, and we, similar like you're talking here, and I was joking in the first stages of it. It gets to the point psychologically where I would go outside. You be in lockdown. No one can leave the house. Everyone's like shut. Remember that like
Yeah.
2 months.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So I remember going outside. I haven't left the house for a couple days. I go outside because all I was doing was editing. And I go outside and some leaves, a gust of wind just blew and the leaves just went. I'm like thinking apocalypse is happening. Zombies are going to attack me and I have to get back in the house. Like it messes with your head after a while, So
Yeah, and like for a brief time here, like they had talked about, they were going to enforce like with fines and stuff if you were caught outside.
Yeah.
And thankfully they didn't really end up doing it, but they had talked about it, and I was like, how did we get here?
Yeah. I know. Seriously. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think it's just chaos when people don't really understand what's going on. People panic and stuff like that. And rightfully so. But I think there's a weird psychology behind it. You start going outside and just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem legit. Like everything seems like a mirage, and something bad's going to happen. But in all reality, I think everything's kind of lifting. I can't wait for the springtime.
Yeah,
Honestly. Yeah.
and the vaccine seems to be rolling. I mean, I know there's some shortage of doses, but it's kind of rolling out a little more. And I know a lot of people now who are starting to get it, and I think that's gonna open stuff back up. So where are you at geographically?
Yeah, right now I'm in New England. So
Okay.
I'm actually right near Boston, and basically yeah, I was all over the place last fall and then travel a little bit here and there for stuff that I had to do, but yeah, pretty much right over the border like Massachusetts, New Hampshire area. Yeah. So things are good where I'm at. I don't know.
Good. Well, that's not a bad thing because like I said, we had never been through anything like this before. Like it was kind of a thing where like this is all new territory.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, imagine like I was talking to my friends about it. I'm like, imagine what it was like back in the plague era. Like remember that?
I
It's
do.
like
Yeah. I mean,
everyone thought like the devil was walking the earth and like just chaos and hell was breaking through. And like they even thought like people that they assumed had the plague, even if they didn't, were like sick or something, they would like throw them in the the pit and burn them too. Like that's crazy. But I think like every 100 years or so, there's some sort of like weird outbreak of something. People don't understand. Like,
yeah, it's although I guess it's job security for you because
I know. Yeah, I know. More deaths. No, well, the crazy thing is if you really think about it, like every second someone's passing away, every second someone's being born, in reality. But yeah, I mean it pushes the influx up a lot more rapidly. But I don't
now,
know, man.
do you do like private cases where you're helping people, or as well as your television stuff, or do you actually delve into house cases, personal
Yeah,
cases?
I mean I have for like family, friends, people I know. I'm so like crazy busy that I don't it's like not necessarily my thing to like sit down and book list people and then intentionally go out. I mean, my my whole thing all my life is just the journey of like the life, obviously, and then the paranormal experiences and trying to document and discover new evidence within the unknown so I can like really figure out like kind of what's going on, beyond like the veil of what we see, what the scope of things are. So I think the idea is just basically, if I come across people where I feel really like it's necessary, I mean, I'm willing to go the extra distance and help people. I'm always trying to help people in a general sense, always have since I was a kid, but I think
Right.
it's more or less, I have the weird, I don't know, I perceive things as this: we cross people's paths for certain reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, for instance, I went to do a radio show in LA, and I got in this car with this guy who's driving me to Shady 45, this radio station, Sirius Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was promoting Paranormal Lockdown back then. And basically we're driving, and I think he heard me talking, and it was just nonchalant. And he's like, I had a near-death experience, and this is what happened. He started telling me all about experience and stuff. And I think, I don't know, we started talking about that. And I think just talking sometimes with people helps them better understand that they're not alone. Like, these things are real. Like, what your experience is, I'm listening to it. Sometimes I think that's enough just to help people, is just listening, giving them validation from your own personal experiences, or talking it through a little bit differently. But I have gone to people's houses. Like, there was a young kid who overdosed in my town I grew up in. His mom reached out, super super sweet person, and went over there and brought some equipment, just helping out to try to get some other answers, because I think there was more to it than just what happened. And basically I started getting some evidence on my recorders and different stuff that I had, like this geoport that I had. And we were getting voices that was validating some other stuff, thinking that possibly somebody else was there when he overdosed, like something else was mixed into certain
So it
things.
influenced it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of all I can say without giving too much away.
Right. Yeah, of course.
It's such a personal thing. I don't look at things as cases. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
look at things as like, here's case 101 and I have to go to this house and I have to help. Like, that's not how I kind of live and journey through my life or investigate. I just I do things because I want to do them and I want to help people, but there has to be a reason to it, like a rhyme to the reason. It basically has to be that passion or that idea, or there there's a reason for everything. I
Right.
think it's the ripple effect. Like,
Mhm.
so when I feel that or intuitively sense that, I allow myself to open up and go and help the best way I can, because I'm not the person that you don't want to call over to mom and pop's house and and be like,
Have them come in.
yo, we got Joe Blue here who's haunted our house, do something about this. I mean, I can definitely validate, and I can come and I can figure stuff out, like, on a logical sense. But I think there's a place for everything, and I'd rather investigate the craziest locations in the world to try to discover new things, to be I want to revolutionize the way we perceive things, as a human being. So I'm
Right.
kind of more into that. But yeah, man, I love helping people too.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure because I mean I've seen mostly your television work, and I've heard about your speeches and stuff at events, and I know you do a lot of Nick Groff events, so I wasn't sure if you delved into the other side of it.
Yeah, no, I do with everything. It just, I don't make it like my business. You know what I mean? To go out there and case by case houses.
Mhm.
But
But if it
I,
happens, it
yeah,
happens.
I don't know why, like, was going through my head. I was just thinking of Home Alone. Like, I'm going to case this house right now. I felt like I was Joe Pesci about to case that house. I was like, we're looking for that ghost. We're going to case this house. We're going to get him.
Yeah, you might find some of the ghost of Joe Pesci's career at some point.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh man, I know. Oh man, I love that movie.
So do I. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It became an issue here because my son is 5.
Yeah.
And so now, like, he wanted to be Kevin in the worst way.
Yeah.
And like he said, Dad, can I set traps in the house? And I'm like, for who exactly are we setting these traps? And he's like, well, for you, or maybe burglars. And I was like, why me? And
Yeah.
he just really wants to hit me in the face with a paint can.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? I was that kid. I was like seriously that rebel little kid that, tormented. And I saw all those movies. I saw like the Van Damme movies and like American Ninja. Remember American Ninja? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
the old 1980s films. I used to be that kid that would go in my basement throwing Chinese stars around, building booby traps in the woods with my cousins and just like crazy stuff. It's like boys being doing stupid stuff. So immature. So immature. I remember one time, God, I feel so bad today. So sorry, Dad. But I remember one time when I was that kid and I got in trouble, sent up to the room. It was like a party or something at the house. And I went to the room and I was so mad. I'm like, I'm going to lay booby traps out. So I took like toothpicks, stuck them in the carpet, and I laid them out. But I was just joking. I was just like playing the stupid stuff out in my head. Like, this is what's going to happen. Someone's going to walk in the room and I'm going to get like revenge. And then I meant to take them all out. So I was taking them all out, right? And then I fell asleep. I accidentally fell asleep.
Oh
and,
no!
and I didn't realize I fell asleep. And then all of a sudden, like, all I hear is like in the midst of my deep sleep, I hear, oh God damn it, freaking out and stuff. And I went like I'm blurry eyed, and he's like walking in all in the toothpicks, like comes walking and checking me like middle of the night. Crazy. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
what kind of punishment got added to that?
I don't remember. I don't know. Probably the belt. Who knows? But
So tell for those who don't know, I mean, obviously you have a ton of fans all over, but for those who don't know, tell us about Deathwalker.
yeah, man. So it's a different perception on things. So basically, it's my journey going to different haunted locations with different theories and ideas to put to test and try to validate if some of these theories, ideas, or even like the simple concept of like why are these places haunted and can we compare them and or just taking one location and kind of like pulling back the layers to look a little bit deeper into the unknown. And I think we get so caught up in like everything has to be in a box, like this is what it is, X, Y, and Z. But the idea is to think a little bit outside the box. Why do we perceive things so like this is what a ghost is when we truly don't know what a ghost is, right? So we just define it as something. So that's kind of what Deathwalker is. It's, a living person walking amongst the dead. That's basically what I am, to simplify it. And I'm basically just putting theories to the test, like what is time, what is a ghost, what is a haunting, what is this phenomena people call a shadow figure. And we're just dissecting it a little bit further than others, or that I have in my past, and we're using more advanced equipment and stuff like that to validate even personal experiences. And it's really derivative on like the narration of simple conversations. And really, like, the concept behind Deathwalker was to just start conversations with people, ordinary people. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, background, thoughts, ideas. It was more or less to start conversations about, man, I didn't think of time that way. I didn't think of a ghost that way. I didn't think of this, or have you ever tried that? It's kind of like that was a real like purpose that I had put in place to just make people think a little bit deeper about life, the journey, and the hauntings and stuff. So it's been amazing, and we're just still pushing the boundaries for what's to come.
Very cool. And you have new stuff coming out soon?
Yeah, we're going to announce some more stuff coming up really soon. I'm really excited. Stay tuned.
Very
So
cool. Very
yeah,
cool.
we're working on a lot of stuff right now. That's why it's been crazy, just because we're just gearing up.
Gearing up, getting ready to get back out there. So now for you, what was the biggest difference between, doing Deathwalker and shows like Paranormal Lockdown and Ghost Adventures?
Right. Deathwalker. So it's just my cousin and I, Justin and myself, going out on the road, going these locations all by yourself. So it's back to the roots, man. It's like back to that grittiness, kind of how I got to start. Um, it's really derivative on like the storytelling, the narrative, the cinematic appeal of like these locations. And then once we dive into the locations, it's really about like trying to understand these concepts a little bit better, dissecting things a little bit more thorough. And then obviously more advanced equipment to validate some of our personal experiences and to try to like document, what eyewitnesses and people have encountered at these places. So I feel like, paranormal, it's there's so much of it, which is a great thing these days when you're talking about TV and stuff like that, streaming TV, internet, whatever you watch your paranormal content on, which is a cool thing. but I think we get lost in transition and the whole like spectrum of everything. So I feel like we're doing stuff a little bit different and just thinking a little bit heavier on the idea of paranormal, like encompassing all of it. It's not just one thing I feel anymore, it's everything. Like one location we went to, we had a UFO experience,
Okay.
at the Octagon Hall in Kentucky, and that was
I'm familiar with it.
oh, amazing, man. We saw this crazy UFO just fly above into the this clear sky right above the Octagon Hall and basically just stop there. And then all of a sudden it was hovering. And you could see the birds below it moving around and stuff, and it's just moving, and then all of a sudden just woof, just takes off. A guy that was staying there with us has been coming to that location for 7 years. He's more science driven, very
Mhm.
skeptical, and he's just staring at like we're all dumbfounded by it. And he's like, "I've been coming here for 7 years, and you show up and this happens." It was amazing. So I think like the UFOs, the cryptid, the ghosts, the paranormal, time, space, energy, just everything is becoming one. And I think it's a melting pot to evolve us as human beings and to think deeper, because I feel like everything around us is paranormal in a weird way. There's people passing away all the time, and energy and conscious thought. I'm really intrigued by the conscious thought too, that we have in these brains. That is the most powerful thing in the world, and all the information that we collect on these conscious thoughts. And where's that go when we die? So
Right.
it's really about life and death and the journey. And I think it's very personable. It's like it feels gritty, but it's cinematic and it's storytelling. But I feel like it's just different in the sense that we're doing different things in theories, and we're pushing the boundaries a little bit further, I think, than the stuff that I've done before. Obviously, Paranormal Lockdown was a step up, from living at the locations.
Right. Yeah.
But Deathwalker, I feel like, is completely different than all of them. But at the same time, it encompasses everything, but just on a different level. You know,
So you're
so
bringing everything from all your previous experience and all bringing in all this new cool stuff you want to try.
yeah, just making it a little bit more unique. I always like so projects that I take on are always one step above. Everything is a stepping stone for me. So you see, like Ghost Ventures was the first baby, then I did some other projects. Then Paranormal Lockdown was here, and then now I feel like Deathwalker is about to catapult big time.
Catapult.
Yeah.
Very
Oh
cool.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Coming
very
up.
excited to see more of it.
Yeah. We just like if you've seen the first 5 apps of Deathwalker, we just kind of small released it, but it's coming. Trust me. There's gonna be a big announcement, and the idea was to just test it. Just like see with these theories, see with these ideas. But we would just like kind of get in our start. But I think you're gonna be amazed about what we're gonna do next. So it's gonna be I feel like it's gonna be groundbreaking again for
You've
what's to
you've
come.
you've got my interest peaked.
Cool. It's cool.
Um, so tell us, the kind of the focus of this show and kind of because I came from a paranormal background. I came from extreme paranormal.
Hmm.
Um, Given its very short and necessarily short life,
Yeah.
um, but I used to travel around with George Lutz from the Amityville Horror. He was kind of my mentor, and so I come from that world. And then I ended up kind of falling into a family, and then we had
Mhm.
twins of our own. So it's something that's always near and dear to my heart. So I was excited that you were interested in coming on the show.
Nice, man. Yeah, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
It's
Um,
it's crazy where life takes us.
right. Um,
It does.
so and so one of the things that I learned just recently was that you're actually also, on top of being a paranormal investigator, is you're a dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Two beautiful little girls that I have, Chloe and Annabelle, and they're just incredible. And they keep me very active and busy. Sometimes I feel like I'm aging quicker, but they they're great. They have a lot of energy. They're super talented, super smart, and I absolutely adore them. And I think, as a dad, it's tough, man, because when you're on the road and you're doing so many different things in life and you want to keep succeeding and keep evolving, and you got to have balance, like you have to be healthy and you have to take care of yourself foremost so you can take care of them. And, I always put them first and what's best for the kids. So I think the idea is just maintaining that thought, and keeping that balance. It's really about focus for me.
Right.
like focus and energy, because I'm so hyperactive. I'm all over the place. And I learned a long time ago that I have to focus on one thing, conquer that, and move on. I get bored really easy, or it's like tough because I want to run a Spartan race someday. I'm like, I want to climb a mountain, in between everything else. But I think that's just the drive that we give ourselves, because we want to succeed on so many different levels. Or I do personally. I want to succeed in so many different levels. Because you want to challenge yourself and show your kids too at the same time that anything can be accomplished if you put your mind to it. And it's like,
That's great advice.
and you want to be this role model for the next generation. And I think that's one important thing for myself, is staying true to yourself. Like, it's so important to stay true to yourself no matter what you do, especially in the industry, because the industry will eat you up and spit you out if it's music or TV or whatever, film. So I'm always about being, allowing yourself to wake up every day and look in the mirror, and just really truly know yourself and be happy and content with who you are. Because I think the kids are our foundation. We were all kids once, but I
Right.
remember as a kid, like, you look up to certain people that you want to like be, or you want to do, or be even better than that person. Like, I was a huge filmmaker, so I loved the movies. I would look up to, like, the Spielbergs and the Del Toros and the Kubricks and stuff like that. Um, so I think, as a dad and like what I'm doing, I think it's important not to be like that 5 minutes of fame on TV, just running around like, whatever. I want to be something that's like I want to do projects that are remembered for impact, like something that's going to ripple effect the generation to come, or somebody who's going to do it even better than I will when I'm gone. And I feel like my daughters are like a great part of that, with whatever they want to do. It doesn't have to be anything I'm doing. It could be something like they totally love to do. I'm all about do what you love and you're passionate about, not what I'm doing.
Now, do they know what you do?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My oldest daughter has watched my stuff since she was like 3. But
Oh wow, so you started her off early.
I mean, I didn't intentionally. I wasn't like, here, sit down, watch. It was just kind of like it was on the TV once in a while, like kitchen or whatever, and I was just checking in on the show, and she would watch. Now she's 10, going on 11 in December, so it's like, you know, she's so into it now. It's like crazy. Like, she just like, I don't know. She just has that intuitive sense. She definitely is very spiritual. She's her own person, which I love. And I teach her, be your own person, not what everybody else is doing, what everyone else is telling you to do.
Right.
Be your own person. You're gonna understand these words very importantly one day, and just do what you want to do what you love to do. And she's doing it. I mean, she loves what she does, and she's just starting to kind of find her own groove and stuff, which is really cool to watch, her grow into.
Now, have you taken them out to check out some haunted stuff, or to check out cool locations?
No, I really haven't. My youngest, I haven't. So my oldest, Annabelle, she actually came to some locations when I was filming Ghost Ventures way back in the day. So she showed up just to say hi. Like, I know I was filming at one location in Charlestown. She dropped by, um, was, but not really. No, I mean, like, I don't know. I do it so much that I just like, I don't want to bring him into the environments. Number one, the environments are like terrible sometimes. It's like
There's
asbestos,
a lot of
you
asbestos
know.
in some of
Yeah.
those places.
Black
Yeah.
mold, asbestos, it's dirty, it's disgusting, it's dangerous. But she's been to a couple, like, places that are clean. But usually I'm going there, I grind with what I have to do. And then I leave and come back. But they're busy in their own way.
Now, I mean, so occasionally they'll come on the road a little bit with you, but not full time.
No, they haven't for a long time. Just when they were younger for a minute. But they have it's just too hard. It's too hard right now.
Well, I can see where that would be taxing, especially on a small kid. And I had actually I was offered a paranormal television experience, and I declined because of that reason. My wife had a stroke 6 days after our twins were born, and I couldn't bring myself to tear away. It just wasn't an opportunity that needed to work. She was still rehabbing. The twins were there, and I said, I would love to do this, and maybe in a future time, I'll, ride that horse again. But for right now, I need to be here with my family. So, I envy in some ways that you're getting to still go out there and live your dream. Well, I've obviously gone down a completely different path here.
Yeah, but that's the right choice, man. Like, I don't know. You gotta, everything is about choices in life, and I think it's really important to be grounded because you can lose sight in what's the bigger picture. I think you made the right decision. I mean, I think a lot of people would have jumped on that and say, "All right, see you later." And it gets messy, and then you'll find out it's probably not worth it. But there's reasons for everything. Like I said, there's reasons, there's timing for everything. People get great things when they're patient, not when they're too hungry. It's great to be hungry and go after things and
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
driven, but sometimes when you lose sight of what you truly want to do and where it's important to do it, I think that's the hurdle, is like looking past all that stuff, like all that glam and that TV and all that stuff. It's not all picture perfect people might think it is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like stuff that comes with it, but I think yeah, man, I think it's awesome that you did that, because like, look, you declined it then, but what's to come in the future might be even bigger than that. So let's say you did that back then and it was a quick lived thing. Maybe like something bigger is coming for you, you
Well,
know?
I've always kind of in the back of my head figure. I mean, given my, I'm 5'4", and I'm a little on the chunky side. So I eventually Danny DeVito is going to pass away, and all of his roles will come open. And I've always just kind of set my sights that when that happens, I'm jumping in.
That's awesome. Dude, I met Danny DeVito once. He's
Did you
great.
really?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's really cool. There's a lot of people. So I was at Comic-Con and I was in the back loading dock wherever everyone comes in, and we were doing a booth there and stuff uh, in San Diego. And I was standing there, and a bunch of people came through, and it was cool. And Dan DeVito comes out. I'm like, oh man, it's Dan DeVito. I love Dan DeVito. And he's getting into his van with his family and stuff. I'm like, yo, DeVito, what's up, buddy? I'm like, "Hey, can I get a picture?" And I'm not even joking, he was already in the van. He literally got out of the van, walked up to me, "So what's up, man?" Started talking to me, and we got a picture together. He didn't have to do that, like, he was with his family, but that's how cool that dude is. Like,
That's very cool. A
he
lot of a
he's
lot
down to
of
earth.
people wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, 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 it was cool to meet him, and I just love meeting people when you realize, like, you see them growing up, they're in big movies, they're great people. It doesn't have to do that. And I don't know, I live by principle of that too, So for him to do that, it was really cool. I
Well,
met Del Toro too.
he's a father as well, I think.
Yeah, 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 he's a father. Great kids and stuff like that. But he's cool, man. I met Del Toro there too, which
Really?
Del Toro was awesome.
Is he your main
Or
director man?
One of them in my top 10, definitely. Let me think. Yeah, Del Toro's up there. You know what I love? So everyone was crowding him. This is just when Pan's Labyrinth came out when I met him, and he had a whole film crew around him. He was filming, he was walking, and my PR manager was walking with me. I'm like, man, it's Del Toro. I would love I'm like, I need to meet Del Toro.
Right. Why wouldn't you want to?
Yeah. So Pan's Labyrinth just came out. It's a big success. But I loved it, don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I was so in love with his other film prior to Pan's Labyrinth called Devil's Backbone. If you've never seen Devil's Backbone, it's an
I have.
incredible film. Incredible. It's a ghost story, but it's so good. So we're following him back into like this loading dock, and my manager yells out to him, Del Toro. He turns around, looking around like, what the hell? So I go up to him, and everyone's getting pictures. Everyone's like, Pan's Labyrinth, Pan's Labyrinth, Pan's Labyrinth, and I walk up and I'm like, I just want to say I really appreciated Devil's Backbone, and it was incredible. And a big smile lit up on his face, and we took a picture, and he looks at me, he's like, thank you. That was it. It was awesome. But I'm like, this guy's dope. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. But yeah, Del Toro, Kubrick, man, my top. I'm trying to think.
You
Chris
mentioned Spielberg.
Spielberg, yeah, Spielberg's up there. I don't know, Christopher Nolan, he's amazing. Like he's just out of his mind, like intelligent, like Interstellar and the heck's all Inception and Dark Knight and
I'm actually an extra in Dark Knight Rises.
really.
I really
Damn.
am. Yeah, I was one of Bane's. I can barely tell it's me. So in the scene where they're leaving the bank and they're all marching down the road, if you look on the far right side, you can see me for like half a second before I disappear behind a telephone pole.
That's badass, dude. That's great film. Yeah, yeah. I was like, did you play Bing?
No, no,
Like,
no.
it's me.
They were looking
It's
for a
me.
different type. I don't know.
That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, no, he's great. I'm trying to think of some other directors. I went through a Tarantino phase in like college, but I don't know. And then I got weird with Tarantino.
Well, his work
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah, well, it's like when see, I didn't realize, like, don't get me wrong, he's a great director, he's a great screenwriter. Like he's good at what he does. But I was a little let down when like, the whole Reservoir Dogs and like all of his films have been kind of adaptations from other films.
Mhm.
He claims that maybe they're not, but don't get me wrong, he's great. But like Reservoir Dogs is City on Fire. Like if you ever seen that film, it's City on Fire. Like the only film that's kind of been original in a sense is Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was done with Roger Avery. Roger Avery is actually a badass director too. He did Rules of Attraction and all those other films. But yeah, man, I don't know. And then I was just like, oh man, but I love Kill Bill. Obviously, it's like
Fantastic movie.
rips of like Shogun Assassin and some other films, but I don't know.
I didn't know you were such a film buff. I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah, we could talk films all day. That's how I escape from my kids.
I can appreciate. That's why I made this show. Actually, was because I was like, well, I've got a year's worth of material, and what's for me for cool about this is like I can see what other people are doing with parenting, and I kind of adapt some of the ideas and principles. And so this is kind of a learning lesson for me, as well as kind of a project that I could pour into.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, seriously, I mean, I've been watching movies since I was a kid. It was my first love. And then like late at night when the kids go back down to sleep or whatever, like the mind needs to unwind with everything that's going on. So I'll lay there and I'll watch something, and that's kind of how I cope with my own like escaping from reality. So it's
All-time
cool.
favorite movie.
Oh man. I have way too many like meshed into different genres. Like if we're talking love movies, I don't know. I go through weird phases in my life too. Like I'm a huge horror fanatic. I've seen probably every horror movie you can think of. Man, I think one of my scariest films is The Exorcist. I don't know, it gets under my skin as I got older. When I was young, it didn't bother me, but as I get older, there's this weird concept of like something overtaking your psyche and your mind and your body and like possessing you. That's kind of weird to me. So I don't know. I love The Notebook. I know it sounds sappy, but I totally love
No,
The Notebook.
you like what you like.
Dude, I don't know. I love there has to be films that emotionally move me in a weird way. I think it's phases in my life too, with whatever I'm going through in life, like they move me. I went through a huge slasher phase. Like I would watch like French films like The Inside or Haute Tension was a great film. Like those are some psychological horror films. Man, talk film. I mean, Interstellar really, really
Oh, great
moved me.
movie.
Dude, talking about the fifth dimension. I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it, but I mean, such a good movie, like the concept behind it and how, what a ghost could be and stuff like that. With this great compelling like space, time, all that stuff. There's
Now, do
been
you think
tons.
do you think one day that we'll see the Nick Groff movie, like the horror movie that was like your entire career?
You know what? Like I've been wanting to do films for a long time. I made my first film when I was 24 years old called Malevolence, and I went to Cinevegas Film Festival when Dennis Hopper was still alive, and it screened next to Nobody Knew This Film called Napoleon Dynamite. So
heard of it.
my film screen next to it, and I remember seeing Napoleon Dynamite before it even came out. Nobody even knew about it, and they did this small release at Cine Vegas Film Festival, and I remember sitting there going, this is genius, and everyone's like, this was stupid, blah blah blah. I'm like, it's gonna be huge. And it was a blockbuster smash. And then I remember going and seeing Eraserhead on the big screen with David Lynch and Dennis Hopper, and man, just like seeing those guys talk. And then I went over and saw Mike Takahashi. Mike Takahashi just came out with Gozu. You know, he did 13 Assassins, which is an incredible film. So Mike Takahashi is up there in one of my top 10s too. He's incredible. But yeah, no, I mean, film has been always like in my blood. I think since I was a little kid, I was making like weird VHS tape, like cool, you know, mob films and stuff when I was a kid with my friends and just stupid stuff. But yeah, I made Malevolence, and then I didn't release it. It did really good at Cine Vegas Film Festival, didn't release it. And then I went on to want to go look for ghosts, you know, since I was a kid. And then I made Ghost Ventures, the documentary, and that's kind of the rest is history.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how the quest kind of takes you. But here's what I was getting at is I think in the future, what I want to do is make 5 films, like straight up 5 strict films. And I have my films that I want to make. I want to make a straight action film, which I've already written. Straight action, like an assassin.
So this is already written.
Yeah. Like it's crazy. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but
I'll
tell you the genres. But then I want to make a horror film, which I've already done, based on kids. It's wild. Just all kids in the perspective of like the Muppets in a style. Kind of like a mash between like 1990s, like weird genre, like just creepy killer in town. You know, it's really weird and crazy. And then another film I want to do, I would love to do a love story. Like I seriously would love to do like kind of like this real life mashed together love story. And then my other film, I would love, this is what I've always said forever. So I was a huge Clive Barker fan, Clive Barker, like Cabal books, Nightbreed, Hellraiser, you know. I want to remake, and I know Clive Barker follows me on Twitter, so I'm telling you right now,
you're going to make it happen.
I want to make it happen. I want to remake Nightbreed. I really want to make, like, take Cabal, and he did an amazing job. But I think today, the monster building and all that stuff, and just like adapting it even further, I think Nightbreed could be epic. And I would love to remake that.
It really would be. There definitely, that's one of them that like, it definitely could stand an update if it was done right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what I want to do. I'll bring back Boom. Boom. And I'll bring back all those characters. I would love to remake Nightbreed. I think that's one of my passions, which is, oh, here's the poster right here. Check this out. So I got the Nightbreed poster.
Oh, very cool.
It's like one of those original ones. I started collecting movie posters for a long time.
Yeah, I noticed your collection behind you kind of as we were talking.
Yeah. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. Huge Army of Darkness fan. You know,
great movies.
Yeah. And there's I had what's his name over there sign that for Nightbreed in the corner. There we go, right over there. One of the characters from Nightbreed. But yeah, I don't know. That's a movie that has always stuck with me, and I can't shake it. It's like I have to do it. It's weird, but
you just feel it in your blood that it's gotta be done.
Since I was a kid, it's just so weird that I have to remake Nightbreed. I think it's the concept of the monsters, the cemetery, and it's this underground world. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch Nightbreed. It's cool. I think it's on Amazon, whatever. You can watch it on Prime. But and then he fought for years. The studio held back 30 minutes of cut. They edited the scene out, like 30 minutes of like the ending crazy scene. And I got the special edition DVDs when it first came out. And I remember posting a picture, and that's when Clive Barker started following me and stuff. I was trying to reach out to him to get him to, you know, I got the books. I started going heavy on it. So yeah, I was big into that stuff. The other thing I would love to do, I actually got really intense in this. Now you got my mind working.
My bad. That's kind of what happens on the show.
Yeah, no, I got into really wanting to make Dante's Inferno. I really would love to make Dante's Inferno. Yeah, just can you imagine that into a film? You know how difficult that would be? Like,
It's
I
a
would
bit
have
of
to
an
take
undertaking.
yeah, but, like, try to make it as real as possible, like, just in a weird I don't know, a weird way, like, take Dante's Inferno because it's been done in weird concept, like,
Right.
conceptual ideas in films.
Yeah, I mean, people steal from it a lot.
Yeah, oh, yeah, all the time, but I wanna make the actual the stages and go through the stages and really go like, follow the character through these stages all the way out of it. Can you imagine? Like, it would be amazing. I know they did in, like, What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams and
Right.
stuff, but
Mhm.
which was a great film, but I
Oh, it's
think,
an amazing film.
I don't know, I would just love something from a point of view, like, where it's really not so animated heavy or anything like that, but, like, real, like, just I don't know. It would be cool. So I got the book on that and I started going crazy in my head wanting to make Dante's Inferno. But obviously, that's
So
a
do you
little
while you're traveling, like flying on planes and stuff, is this what you do? You kind of create all this stuff in your head to like work on like the Nick Groff project book.
yeah, yeah. It was it's something I've always wanted to do. So I'll have ideas like when I'm traveling or whatever. I'll be either writing music, lyrics, or just thinking about movies or stuff that I would love to do outside, like what I'm already doing. Or like bigger projects and stuff like that. It just depends. But that's my passion.
Yeah, I can tell. We kind of veered off from what we were originally going to talk about
I
completely.
know. I
Yeah.
know.
I'm a film person as well. It's my passion. Comedy is kind of my thing, and I'm sad that all of my great heroes are gone. Tim Conway, Robin
Mhm.
Williams, like all the greats are have
Yeah.
left. So I sympathize with you there because there's a lot of stuff that I would have loved to have worked with Tim Conway, and people think I look like Jonathan Winters. So I definitely I would have loved to have worked with him.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many great people. It's kind of sad when you see them go to all the greats, but it's part of life, I guess. And it's crazy when you step back for a second and you think about life, how short it is. And I think that's why I'm so driven on like trying to do all these things. Obviously priority and stuff like that overtakes some of them, but it's good to want to do them, and if you can get to them, it would be great to conquer them.
Yeah. So, kind of going back to why we were originally here to begin with. So, what was it like for you when you found out you were going to have a daughter for the first time?
I knew. So the first time that I was having a daughter, my first child, I actually knew she was going to be a girl. I knew everything about her before I even knew anything about her, realistically. So like I knew, and here's the strange thing: when she was actually born, took care of her a lot and everything, and then later on, when she was about 3 years old, 4 years old, we were driving the car, and she goes out of the blue, she says to me, no joke, she goes, "Dad." She goes, "I knew you were gonna be my dad." I was up in, she calls it heaven. I was up there. I was, up with other energies and stuff like that, and I don't know how she would know this, to be honest with you, because we didn't really talk about it.
And how old was she?
She's like 4, I think, when she first said this. She said this a bunch of times throughout life, but, she said this once at 4 just randomly in the car, and she goes, "I was waiting for you. I saw you as a little boy. I saw you get older, and then I waited until the right time, and I knew you were gonna be a good dad and be able to take care of me." So she's like, "I picked you, and I was up there, and I was waiting, and I chose you, and then I came down." And
Oh,
that's
that's so interesting. Has she seen the new Pixar movie Soul?
yeah, yeah, I think we saw it, within the last year or something like that, but she's
It's a very
10.
similar, like a very similar what she was talking. Like a very similar concept.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
It's
I
such a
mean,
wild movie,
yeah, I mean, this is, like, way after that movie came out, but
right?
I
So
I
she
really
like
don't know. Yeah.
it's interesting. It's interesting that like her from long time because she's 11 now.
She's 10. She just turned 10 in December. Yeah.
So she's, 7 years or 6 to 7 years ago, she, had this, vision of something that like got visualized. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And what's weird is, like, we've always had a connection. Like, I don't know. It's just like, you just know. So it was really strange, but she's a deep thinker. She's kinda like me. So just really deep thinker. But yeah, I mean, amazing, amazing experience. there's nothing like it. You can try to think of what it's like to have children or whatever, but when you have your own kid and you really want that child, and it comes true, and then you go there and you see your daughter or your boy or whatever. It's just like there's no words to really describe it. It's just like all those emotions and stuff, and you're also trying to figure out what to do because everyone tells you what to do, but
Right, yeah, because there's no manual. That's kind of an overlapping theme here. Is that we everybody talks about how there's just no manual for this.
right, and like every kid's different, and there's no kind of right way. It's just kind of like you have to adapt. So
So were you already filming Ghost Adventures when
Yeah.
she was on her way?
Yep. Yeah, I was filming Ghost Ventures when Annabelle was born, and then later my other daughter Chloe was born when I was exiting Ghost Ventures. So it was a cool combination. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much where it was at. It's just crazy, like I said, where life takes you, and now they're getting old. Like my daughter is up to here on my shoulders right now. She's
Oh
tall.
wow!
And I'm 6'1", so
Oh,
she's
so
like
she's very tall for
she's
10.
very tall. Yeah, it's crazy. She's taller than her grandmother right now. So it's
Now,
crazy,
what
man.
was the biggest adjustment for you once you knew she was coming, and when you got here?
Nothing really. I think it was I was just still the same, nothing really adjusted. I think what changed for me was I got more grounded.
Okay,
Like meaning like when I say that, I mean like when I'm on an investigation, don't climb into that mine shaft that's 300 feet deep because you could die. Like there was more of a purpose of don't get as crazy in investigations. You know what I mean? Like, all right, maybe I should take the bridge and try instead of trying to jump over the pit of death, stuff like that. So I don't know. That's kind of what changed for me. Is just thinking things through a little bit differently.
yeah, I kind of in a similar boat there. Like you just because there are ramifications once, like before them, it's it's you and that's it, and then when they come, like they have to come first.
Yeah,
Um,
totally, man.
so what was the big difference, between the way you're raising your girls as opposed to, how you were raised?
I always laugh at when I was a kid. I used to tell my parents when I was getting in trouble and stuff, I'm gonna let my kids someday do whatever I want. I think we all do that. And then I had my kids, and now they're like, I want to do whatever I want. And I'm like, no, and you can't. I think I don't know. I'm like chill with them. I think I really talk things through with my daughters. Like I'll sit there and have like deep conversations about life and stuff that I just didn't know when I was a kid or people didn't talk to me about. So I really kind of sit there and I take the time to engage conversations a little bit more, Sometimes that's all I wanted because I was like misunderstood half the time.
Right.
So
We had a question from the chat. Were you there for their births?
yes, I was there for both of them. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, and I actually posted a video. So we were supposed to film Ghost Ventures back then when Chloe was born, my second child, and we were supposed to film near us for a special, and then last minute it got changed, and suddenly they were in Mexico, and I said I was not going. I was going to be because she was due any time, so I was there for Chloe's birth. Yeah,
oh,
and
very nice.
Annabelle's. Yep.
Are there big differences between your girls?
No, I mean, obviously a couple years apart. They get along really good and they play nice together sometimes. They're sisters, they fight.
Yeah.
But overall, no, there really isn't. I mean, they're two totally different people, which is interesting. But they play really good together, but one is just really articulate on like puzzles and building Legos, and then the other one just wants to make like crazy videos and paint things and be creative. So one's like super creative, the other one's very like structured. So
So each of them got a little pocket of Nick Groff.
yeah, totally. I know it's so weirdly enough like that.
My wife says that it's both a blessing and a curse that our children got pockets of me.
Nice.
Um, so what advice do you have, for parents who have kids who want to go into the paranormal?
I say do what you love to do. Life is short, and if you want to go into the paranormal, definitely do it. Seek it out. I think it's interesting because I think the kids find it more fascinating than adults sometimes. The kids really, really get interested in the concepts and the ideas of ghosts and all this stuff, and they like investigating. It's like so mysterious for kids. So I think it's a fun thing. Obviously, pick your locations wisely.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to want to,
Yeah.
Penhurst's probably not a great place to go.
Yeah, exactly. So I would just say, do it, man. Do whatever like it brings the family together. I think that's the most important thing is doing stuff as a family and doing stuff that's fun and people enjoy it and stuff like that.
Very cool. Now, and so I guess kind of our final question here, for the night is, what do you personally feel like is the key to being a great parent?
Um, Always stop and give them attention, no matter what you're doing and stuff like that. I think it's very important to keep that foundation just like situated because life is really quick, and I think that sometimes the kids just need us and they need us to pay attention to them and stuff like that. A lady, so I was investigating a location. I don't remember where I was, but I remember coming back to the hotel when I was done, and I was sitting there and at the restaurant, and I was waiting, and a lady said to me out of the blue, we would start talking. This older lady, she was super wise. She just said, "Remember to stop down and give your girls attention because sometimes they'll be seeking that in life." And I think that's important as a dad or as a father, to always give your girls attention, or boys, whoever, whatever you have. And I think it's just important to, no matter how busy you are, to when they want to talk or it's something serious or they want to like conversate about, like to give them that moment to express themselves, because you can't get that stuff back in life. You really can't. And once the time moves forward, that's it.
Yeah, well, what it's interesting is, as much as you travel and you're constantly doing new media projects and obviously have a great love of film, is that you do seem like you take a lot of time to kind of be there for your girls and nurture and help them become whoever it is that they're going to be.
Yeah, I really do. I think that's important. It's challenging because I got a gazillion things going on at once, but it's just definitely important to like, give them that foundation and know that I'm there for them. No matter what it is, it could be like, oh, I don't think I'm girlfriend boyfriend with this kid at school anymore. Like you're 10 years old. you know, but it's awesome. I'm like today I was driving home when I picked them up from school and she's like, yeah, I don't think this kid likes me anymore. Or she said, no, she said, I think this kid likes me. Now this boy likes me in school because he says, do you like me? And I like you. And it was one of those things.
Right? Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's my response. I'm like, but like we'll get into deep conversations about stuff. Man, it's crazy. Like I
Well,
talk to her like an adult now, it's wild. She's super smart. Like it's the one thing I noticed too is they're not kids, like they're not babies, like
right.
3. Like there comes a point where you can talk to them. You don't have to baby them. You can nurture, but it's like speaking regular like conversations. I think the more open you are about certain things, like I don't know. Maybe girls are a little bit different than boys as a kid, but like my girls are super mature and they're just like they understand things a lot better. So when I talk to them about certain things, it's really cool. And I kind of didn't have that sometimes, as a kid. Like just about life. We talk about like life and death and what's
And so you
next.
didn't have that as a kid.
Not really. I had to figure stuff out on my own, but I want them to like make up their own ideas. I don't put any like concepts in their head. I just talk to them because they'll talk to me about certain things, about beliefs and stuff like that, or religions and stuff. They're learning all this in school. And I said, well, what do you think? Like, what do you really think? And then they'll say about what they think. And I say, oh, did you ever think of it this way? And then they'll think of it that way. And then they'll make up their own ideas. It's cool because they should be thinking on their own, not
Yeah.
not being told.
A lot of parents I found, kind of since I started the parenting journey, don't feel that way, and that they feel like they have to constantly micromanage everything that their kids do. And I think that is a recipe for a disaster once the kid is out on their own. Because I've seen, you went to college, I'm sure you saw it too. Like there are some kids who get out there and they become a train wreck.
Yeah, you have to experience life. It's the reality of things, So I think it's just a matter of them growing into their own stuff. You can only be there. Like they're gonna do what they want. I did what I wanted. No one told me what to do. I'm an Aries, so I'm like that fire crazy sign. Like I'm just gonna go crazy and whatever I want to do. But I think as long as you're there for them and they stay out of like the real trouble stuff, stay away from drugs, don't do anything stupid like farther than, but as long as you don't get in trouble, I think they're gonna make mistakes, they're gonna figure it out, they're gonna go through experiences just like all of us did. So as long as they stay on their path of what they're destined to do.
And when they eventually find a significant other, if they do them wrong, you can bring some sort of demonic creature to them. So
Yeah. I always I used to tell them when they get older, I would say like, if anyone ever bothers you, I know a ton of people that are dead and I know a lot of people that are alive. so don't mess with me. That's what I'll tell the boys when I meet them.
So I see you're on the other side of it. I have all boys. So like I have a whole other, like I need to teach them to be respectful and you've got to watch out for the predators.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, it's a scary world right now. So I'm telling you, like I'd be like what's his name from Taken, I got a set of tools. Yeah, I would totally be him. Oh man.
You just need to you might want to look up I'm Death Walker.
Yeah. I'll be investigating you.
Well, man, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Tell everybody where they can find and keep track of what you're up to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a blast, talking with you, man. And hopefully we can meet in person someday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just if you look up Nick Groff. So I have a website, thenickgroff.com. Also, if you join my group right now on Facebook, it's Nick Groff Explorers. Look that up on Facebook. Join the group. We have this contest. We're doing a giveaway, one-on-one investigation. If you can gain all these points that we're doing, go to the Nick Groff Explorers group. You can learn more. Facebook, Instagram, just at Nick Groff _. Same thing with Twitter. But yeah, look me up, man. It's all good. Appreciate the support. And thank you so much, man.
Hey, and come back anytime whenever you have anything going on, by all means, come back.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. No, I really appreciate it.
No problem. Have a great night, buddy.
You too. Take care. Bye, everyone.
That was Mr. Nick Groff. What a fun interview. Sorry, we got a little off track. We're both film buffs there, so I apologize. We got a little sidetracked there, but we got to see all the cool stuff that he's interested in, and really enjoyed the talk. So next week on the show, we have comedian and actor Jamie Kaler will be joining the program. He is, you've probably seen him he's been in everything from Friends to How I Met Your Mother. He also does a dad podcast as well called The Dadlands, does a lot of funny videos. He'll be joining us. The week after that, will be Butch Patrick, who was the original Eddie Munster, will be joining the program. So we've got a lot of great shows coming up. You can check us out, always live here on Facebook at www.facebook.com/DADPOCALYPSE. All of the shows are also available at DADPOCALYPSE.com. And all the audio versions of these are available on anywhere you listen to major podcast outlets, iHeartRadio, iTunes, the day after the show airs. We'll see you guys next Tuesday night. Have a great night.